For sponsorship.
Hashtag Jack Daniels on everything we do.
There you go. Get noticed eventually.
In Studio B here at the Podcastle, it's... We can swear, by the way. It's motherfucking Stynger!
Sweet, dude. I was going to ask you that before.
Yeah,
I forgot to ask you that.
Internet radio podcasting, we can say and do whatever the hell we want. So, welcome to my home. Welcome to the studio here at blasttheradio.com, and congratulations on getting out of the studio with some kick-ass sounding music. That's got to be pretty exciting to hear yourselves.
Too excited, man. We've been waiting a long time. It was a long process, and finally got to hear something. And thank you for having us as well.
Hey, man, always. You know we love Capital Talent. We first met you at a talent search competition that you didn't win, but I freaking love the story. So, you know, at the same time, you were in another talent competition with another radio station.
Yes.
You ended up winning the whole friggin' thing.
All of it.
Right.
They put you on stage that summer. You were the headliner, were you?
No. We were an opener. For the headliner on our day was the Lazies.
Okay, cool.
From Australia, and they're awesome.
Yeah, they kick ass.
And but we were the first band that day. So, but that was still an insane experience.
Right. And how many people would have seen that show?
It was raining, so there wasn't that many people there. But by the time the sun did come out, there was probably a solid 50, 60 people in the crowd, and most of which had never seen us before either. Yeah. So
that's awesome. I mean, you do a good live show too. I mean, you've got all the ingredients are there. I'll take a shot at Chris just because he doesn't want to be on the interview very much. The drumming leaves a little bit to be desired, but
yeah, that's it.
But then again, so does the host of this podcast. So, so you won the whole damn thing, $5,000, and could you have done anything with that, or was that earmarked for studio time?
We knew that's what we wanted to do with it. I think, when we were. When we signed up and when they accepted us and we were one of the bands in the competition, we were pretty stoked, but we didn't think that we were going to win at all. I mean, it was, pipe dream at that point, as we were still just a basement band. But when it got closer and when it became realer, we started talking about what we would do with the money, and that was definitely the first thing, is get something recorded.
So how do you work then as a band when it comes to doing a vote like that?
Everyone has a say,
Yeah.
Does it help that there's 5 of you, so you've got a tiebreaker?
Yeah,
It definitely helps. Yeah, it definitely helps. There's a lot of backdoor pining going on. Everyone's visiting each other, and after band practice, getting them alone, trying to get them on their side of the vote. A lot of games being played, but you got to get that swing vote.
That's awesome. So, I mean, the first time we played you on BTR, it was a demo. It was a studio demo. So what was this? Take us through the difference between recording a demo versus being in the studio.
Well, let me be the first one to say that you weren't supposed to get that demo.
That was a very rough cut.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
they need to hear something tomorrow, so everyone come over tonight. We're gonna use our shitty mics and put together something.
Live off the floor.
That's what we did.
The setup
But
was
this is
not.
what-
It was not something.
This is what every band is doing, though, isn't it? You're putting together whatever you can afford and whatever you can make happen, and recording it somehow. I mean, I got my first radio job. I recorded the demo on a cassette deck with another cassette deck playing commercials I had recorded off the radio, and a turntable and a Radio Shack microphone. I think that I picked up at a garage sale for $6. So I mean, you do with what you can.
You make do with what you got, and we were worse than broke. It was we had no money, man.
We needed that $5,000.
Yeah,
spent it all on booze all the time. So
microphones were not a priority.
Does the digital era make it easier to do a halfway decent demo? Because it wasn't that bad. I mean, you're being hard on yourselves, but it wasn't that bad.
I mean, it definitely makes it easier to get any kind of content out there. It definitely makes it easier to record something live out of a room that you couldn't really do that before. It was, we didn't sit there and do single tracks. It was, basically as fast as we could lay it down, with multiple parts at the same time.
So you had been all plugged into the mixer, and the mixer into whatever the digital recording source was, right?
I think we had an electrical cable hanging from the ceiling that I slung the mic over.
Yeah.
And we just kind of rolled with that.
Yeah.
So it was one mic in the room capturing the whole thing?
Yeah.
I had to play it pretty quietly.
Yeah. Play super. It was one condenser mic hanging off the basement ceiling, and
that turned out really well, though, considering what you did.
Yeah.
What we had.
So then where did you end up going to record the EP?
We went to Wolf Lake Studios in Wolf Lake, Quebec. Just
Good name for a studio in Wolf
Yeah,
Lake. Yeah.
That was a really big contributor to why we chose that studio. No. We heard a lot of great things about our producer Mike Bond from a couple guys that we talked to when
Yep.
we were figuring out who we wanted to record it with, and so we got in touch with them. We set it up. We all went out there and we spent a whole weekend, slept on the floor in the studio, like classic rock and roll weekend. Just
Like everything you've ever read in liner notes,
yeah,
right?
everything,
Yeah.
and a little less because we were still broke because it was the band's money. It wasn't anyone's individual money, so we couldn't spend too much of it. Not how much the record was going to cost. So yeah, we all slept in sleeping bags on the floor in the studio. Stayed there for Friday night, Saturday night, and all day Sunday, and laid it down.
So how many tracks on the EP then?
5.
That's a lot of work for a weekend.
It was a lot of work.
But
It
it
went a
was
little overtime too.
Late nights.
Yeah, because I mean, you're talking about hanging a mic over an electrical cord and recording the whole jam session in one. I know how it works in the studio, and for the listener who's not familiar, so I mean, how does it start out? Do you lay down beats first? Do you do guitar licks first? How does the whole thing?
it's kind of like we had to figure it out kind of as we go. We had a bit of a game plan.
Yeah,
Again.
we tried like live off the floor, just like the guitars and bass and drums the first night. But we found out it worked a lot better when we laid down the drum tracks first and then went with that.
This is the other way around. We started with just doing drums by himself in a room,
Yeah.
and it wasn't working very well. So we threw you and Shake
Okay,
in the
yeah,
room
that's
with
right.
him, and then we used the drum tracks from those
So,
ones.
so you don't even play the whole thing together once,
No,
and then
we
start.
never played together as a band
Oh, man.
that whole weekend.
Yeah,
The second day, we came up with a good idea. It was record like the guitar over a rough track, and then I would play over the rough track, and then once we figured that out, it was a lot quicker and easier of a process.
Yeah, we started being a lot more productive once
Yeah.
we found
That's
the right
kind of-
flavor because it was very new for
Like
a lot of us.
all,
Yeah.
all we've ever done is just like jam together. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I can't imagine sitting there and just going, okay, this is my part in that
Yeah.
song without having the song. I mean, the song's in your head, but it's not in
Exactly.
your headphones. It's
Dude, it was
Click
murderous
tracks are
for me.
fun.
I didn't sing a note until Sunday afternoon. I got there Friday night. I
Our
sat there.
time was almost up.
I had like 3 hours or 4 hours left to lay down all 5 vocal tracks for all the songs.
so just how much Pornhub did you watch?
Oh, they had a little N64 thing in the
Oh,
other
okay.
room. I got really,
Yeah.
really good at Mario Kart. Shane taught me a lot of things.
This place was off the grid, man. There's like barely
There's
enough
nothing
internet.
out
There's
there.
no,
There's
like
no-
you're lucky to get a cell
Service is
phone.
terrible.
You
Really?
pretty much you
can't
camp there.
get distracted by anything
There's-
out there. So there's literally a little tiny TV in the producer's room of the studio, and a little game console, 4 controllers, and basically every game you can think of, and that's what you do while your bandmates are tracking.
Yep.
So they're
Oh, yeah.
kind of one by one kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
thing.
there's a lot of waiting around, really. Drinking, I guess.
I got
Pretty much.
shit faced.
Yeah, well, I guess
Saturday I was ready to go. Right there, like Saturday night you're gonna sing because they wanted to do it in the evening because I sound like shit in the morning, and so Saturday afternoon's rolling around. I'm getting hyped up. I'm getting psyched, and then Mike, our producer, comes to me and he's like, "Look, man, we're running a little behind on the guitar and the bass tracks. We're probably not going to get to vocals until tomorrow." And I'm like, "Well, fuck this shit." Then I grabbed a bottle of Jack Daniels and I had myself a night, and then I laid it down the next day.
You know what's killing me is you've got this deep, growly voice, and then we hear you sing.
Yeah, everyone says that.
How the hell does that happen?
I don't know,
The
man.
voice that comes out of this guy and the way he looks, man. Yeah, we hear that a lot.
Like, I drove you and Chris home from a hockey game one night, and you guys had me like putting on Firehouse and stuff in the truck.
Yeah.
And Eric's in the back, and he's just like screaming this shit out, and I'm like, "That's the guy that came into my truck and sounded like this." Man.
Trust me, I thought the same way.
Everyone that hears the band, like everyone that hears the songs that we have recorded, like listens to it and goes, "You're not. That's not you. You're not singing."
Yeah,
And
and
no one believes it's me.
That's crazy.
But I've seen it on stage, and it's actually the thing too. So.
Yeah.
For the 2 guitar guys, there was a night at Moose McGuire's. The footage is there. One of you fell down and went boom. Which one?
Oh,
Of
The guy that's not here.
the guy
'cause
that's
he's
not
not
here.
here. That was Shake.
Can't
That was
take
the
this out of
best
him.
moment of any show we've ever played, hands down to this day. I,
Didn't
I will
didn't
never
stop
forget
playing,
that.
though.
Yeah, I gotta say, he outed man.
he didn't miss anything.
Did
boys.
listen, no. Okay, so the story. There's a story behind that. So, for like 2 weeks leading up to that show, he was like, "If we're gonna, because we needed votes at that show. I think I'm pretty sure that was one of the ones we needed votes for." And he's like, "I'm gonna get us some votes. I'm gonna do a jumping kick. And he'd been practicing it for weeks in the jam room, and he
I never
nailed
saw him
it.
do it.
He nailed it he nailed it in practice.
Every time.
Nailed it in practice,
Never
and
fell.
then he just I don't know what happened on stage. You know, it was 3 songs in. He was a little tired, but
It's tight quarters though at Moose McGuire's,
it's
right?
for a 5-piece.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
really tight.
Oh,
That's not a very big stage.
Not much
No.
room to
Yeah.
move around.
But that's why he wanted to do the jumping kick, because there was no lateral movement. He could do it in his own little space, and you know, some of us are meant to fail though.
How many views has that had on YouTube?
I don't know if we posted it on YouTube. I
Really?
posted a little excerpt of it on Facebook.
Okay, that's where I
He's
saw
got
it.
a lot of views.
His-
I laughed every time I
I laughed every time I watched it. His girlfriend's a professional videographer, and she was filming that show, so she's got it in high def, slowed down.
Was it his like profile
Can
picture?
pinpoint the look. There's a
got a
sick
ton of
picture.
likes
There's
on
a
it.
picture of him just
got a
sitting on
ton
his
of
ass,
likes.
Sitting
smiling
on his
away.
ass, smiling. Yeah, no, there's plenty of really good evidence to that.
If you're going to be that person that falls down and embarrasses himself at a show, it's good that your partner is a videographer and has the whole. That's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, you pinpoint the moment that on his face where he realizes he fucked up and that he's going down, and it's awesome. But
That's so
then
great.
we watched the tape many times and watched his hands, and he literally did not miss a single note.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
He's-
That's another thing, man. You never know what's gonna happen on
Rock and roll.
stage.
Yeah.
I would have
know.
taken my guitar and just gone the fuck home.
yeah, no,
I don't
that
wanna
almost
do this
happened a
anymore.
couple times too.
So the EP is all original stuff then, is
All original. Yeah, 5 original
5
songs.
original tracks, yeah.
it? So Whiskey Woman was the first song I ever heard from you guys.
It's the first song we ever wrote as a band.
Okay.
As this group of 5 guys, we
I'm guessing because there are 3 beer and 1 whiskey on the table, you may have written the majority of the lyrics.
I wrote all the lyrics, but Chris over here came up with the title.
you go.
Shake had the guitar riff, and he played it, and Chris just said, "You know what, man? That song sounds like it should be called Whiskey Woman." And I was just like, "Okay, I can write with a theme," and I wrote the song, and it turned out like unreal. So that was the first
It's
song. we
fun
wrote.
when stuff comes together like that,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
hearing people sing all the lyrics
that.
too. Like it's pretty
Some
cool.
songs come together like
Yeah, it is. It's one of those instantly familiar rock songs. It's,
It's
like,
got-
why do I
yeah.
know this?
Everyone knows the hook. It's
Yeah,
pretty fucking
our
cool.
our fan base loves that song, and they sing the shit out of it every time we play live, and
It's
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Now, off the EP, you're leading with Burn. Why? You just got tired of Whiskey Woman, or was it just?
Whiskey Woman, as far as commercial radio play, is probably not going to happen. Content wise, it's a big reason why. Burn, content wise, works, and it's a lot of people said it's our catchiest song as far as commercial based goes. I don't know.
I think we had a vote at one point where the fans voted, and it was pretty much 50-50.
It was
Yeah.
literally
It was
50
between Burn and Whiskey Woman?
Yeah.
It was-
Yeah.
Those were also
Tie.
the only 2 songs we really had
sure.
written at the time. We had the other stuff in the pipe, but we had never played it for anyone yet. So those were the 2 flagship songs that people knew us for. So
What's more fun to do on stage? Some of the cover stuff you do, or your original stuff?
it
it's
depends.
Always the
Depends
original.
what show.
Original, definitely overall, you know? Like
I
we
love
got-
playing originals in the sense that it's an original song, and I'm super proud of it by the
Yep.
time it makes it to stage. And I love playing original songs, but the first time you play an original song, you're staring at a bunch of people that are basically standing still and just kind of like they don't know if they're gonna like it. And when you play a cover and you play something someone instantly recognizes and gets like hyped
Yep.
up about,
And gets the crowd right into
that's you feed off that on stage, and that's awesome too. So, but then once your original song becomes something that people start recognizing, then nothing beats that. That's the best.
And I guess it's how it's got to start for a band, right?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of growing pains for a lot of things that you gotta just find the right way to do for you.
So let's kind of work in reverse here. Were you all high school buddies? How did you sort of come to meet each other?
Me and Chris, we basically grew up together. Like we went to St. Bernard's together, like elementary school, you know, and then high school, and like that's how we know Stefan as well.
Shake.
Yeah, Shake,
And
Stefan,
Rosha.
Shake.
Fall down, go boom guy.
Yeah. And yes, and me and Dennis have been best friends since we were since as long as I can remember, since grade school.
Cool.
So Ro and I met through my cousin, who was also part of his group of friends
Okay.
growing up in school. And I just went over and hung out with him and Lewis and Stefan, and we started playing some stuff, and me and Dennis were in another band at the time, and they came and saw us play, and I think Chris was the one that kind of said, yo, we need to get these two guys into
he went over to me and he's like, yo, we got to get
Pretty
those
persistent.
two.
You just had that feeling that these were the right.
I knew the potential was there. I was just like, we
Texting
just got to
me
get these 5 guys in a
every
room right
weekend.
now.
Yeah.
That's it.
So you broke up the band, man.
I didn't. I waited.
No, we
The pieces kind of
I
fell
waited.
together.
Yeah, and then then Dennis and I
Actually-
went over and
I think the first time I actually like really hung out with these guys was like on a road trip. We went to see Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
yeah, actually,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what kind of
That's a hell of a good way to get to know
That's
somebody.
kind of
Yeah,
a
that
bonding
was-
experience, you
It's
know?
like a no holds barred. You know?
it was the 4 of us. Shake wasn't there, so there seems to be a pattern developing. But, we drove to Toronto.
Pokeroo.
The 4 of us stayed in a 1-bedroom Airbnb and went and saw Guns N' Roses and got absolutely lit up. It was a great night, great weekend, and then we practiced together and with Shake and Stefan, and it was like lightning in a bottle right away. It was insane. The first song we ever played together was, it felt right.
That's an amazing story. So, from there, I mean, and I have the privilege that Chris and I do have. We've got a relation. So your mom is my half sister. Let the cat out of the bag there. But so I had, I knew that this band was forming, but it seemed to happen really kind of quickly.
Really quick.
And I mean,
That's
you always hear artists and people say, there's no such thing as overnight success. And I mean, I'm not saying that you've had huge success yet, but all things considered, you hear so many bands that like they haven't got an EP out in their first year or so together.
Mm-hmm.
How is this just one of those lightning strike moments?
It was crazy. Our first year and what happened in our first year was absolutely wild. From where we started, like just probably 3 or 4, maybe even 5 months of just practicing the same 15 songs, mostly covers, and 14 covers and Whiskey Woman, because that's all we had.
Yeah.
And
we
we
need to have
That's the name of the album. 14 covers and Whiskey Woman.
So we always had to have like a certain set length or
Yeah.
appropriate songs for whatever we're playing.
A lot of work.
It was a lot of work, and
we were
but
going
from
like
the point that we played our first
3,
show.
4, or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
What was the first show? Where was it?
Boston Pizza on Carling
Patio
Avenue.
party.
I was there. Yes.
were you there?
Okay, I was there.
Okay, yeah, that was
On the
our
patio.
That was our first show, man. It was outside on the patio, tiny little patio. Well, it's not that tiny. There was probably 30 people there.
That's all right.
But it was cool. It was a lot of family and friends, because it was
Yeah.
our first show, and it wasn't really at a bar, so there was a lot of family and friends and a lot of couple of people we didn't know, but not a whole lot that we didn't know, and that was just a great time. I mean, we drank way too much during
Oh
that
yeah.
show.
Well,
Yeah.
we
We got
set up.
halfway
We
through.
set up, and I left for like an hour and a half and came back, and they had already blown through the bar tab.
Yeah, we were allotted a certain amount of dollars for our bar tab, which didn't even make.
Is this
it
why
to
you're
shows,
now
man.
bringing your own and pulling it out of pockets or whatever? I got a fridge full of beer. Help yourself. And he's got it stuffed in his vest and whatever else.
You
Cracking
got to
up
watch
beer.
your booze around us, man.
It's all
If
good.
it's lying around, it's gonna get.
So,
No,
It's all good. I knew.
no we've gotten a lot better about that, though.
But so from the Boston Pizza gig, next thing you know, you're at like Brass Monkey, and then you're opening for.
Judas Priestess was
That's it. Yeah.
was the big one that we opened for at Brass Monkey.
And that was like your third or fourth show, wasn't it?
Third, yeah, gotta
Something
be
like that.
third.
Yeah.
Come on, that just doesn't happen.
That was
well, it was like
that's awesome.
some of these
Great
guys had
opportunity.
never even played a show before
Yeah.
Boston Pizza, man. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. It was my first show.
Well, yeah, it was me and Lewis's first show.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Oh,
First
yeah.
time playing in front
like
of
me
people.
and him have been doing it for a while.
We've been doing it for a while.
Like, yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was super fast from the time we played our first show to the time where we had generated quite a big buzz, I think, for the Ottawa scene.
Yeah.
And won that competition, and a lot of people knew who we were and or know who we are now. And the amount of time it took, it felt like it was overnight for sure.
So the name's Stynger, and I laugh my ass off because how many times were we at talent competitions and
the first one ever.
they'd mispronounce
Stanger,
Stanger, Stynger.
Yeah.
Stigner.
The wine throws everyone off.
Stigner, yeah.
I really don't think it's that hard.
No.
No.
Yeah. Like if it's not a Y and it's an I, it's the same word, and no one would fuck it up. But you put a Y in there, and it's like, is it a vowel or a stank? Or,
Is it
no one
silent?
knows how to say it. I don't know, man.
It's like no one knew how to pronounce Leonard Skinner when they first came out either.
And
All the
people,
Y's,
and
right?
and you still hear it Leonard Skinner, or
People
you know,
still get that
Exactly.
one wrong for sure.
like I'll have people actually send me a request for Leonard.
Like Leonard Skinner.
It's the same with like Striper too. Like you don't say it wrong that way. You still say
That's
it.
the name
Like,
it reminds me
Yeah,
of. is
people
Striper.
people weren't
Yeah.
saying
Doesn't make any
stripper.
sense.
Stripper or something. Yeah.
So what made you go with the Y? Was it just a stylized thing?
I don't know. That came out of the wolf brain over
Honestly.
here. We had our Facebook group, our group chat going. We were trying to figure out names, and we were tossing out some fucking terrible names,
my
man.
God.
Some
All
bad-
bands do, man. You got to go through that.
And then Dennis, one day, he went. I
So-
don't know. You went on fucking paint or what?
I work at, so I work at the aforementioned Boston Pizza, or I used to work there.
Oh, okay.
And every morning I'm like making pizza dough, and me and my buddy always throw on the hair metal playlist every day. So I'm listening to like Striper and Winger, and, like trying to think of band names, man. While I'm tossing that pizza dough.
Everything's got that IY sound to it.
I mean,
Hey, and so he threw it out in the group chat one day, Stinger with a Y, and I immediately answered, "That's the fucking
Yeah.
one."
I think we all agreed on it.
I
Right away.
think someone said, "Yeah, that's pretty fucking metal."
Am I the only one? I'm sure it dawned on you. Like you had to run to Google and go, is anybody using
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Oh,
that's
of
what-
course we checked that.
And
Nobody.
it wasn't?
Nobody,
No.
nobody.
That's so amazing.
I
Because
definitely check that. Yeah.
it seems like
Dennis
an odd-
wouldn't have even put it as like an idea if it was taken already.
Yeah.
Dennis is pretty.
Yeah,
good
no,
about
no. And that's what I'm saying is the fact that you come up with that, then you go, okay, is this going to be it? You Google it.
Well, like I said, there's
nobody's-
lots of
oh my God.
stringers, slingers.
it. Slingshot
That's so amazing.
and just Sting. Like without the ER, there's obviously the big one, but there's a lot of anything Sting, something Sting, and nothing Stinger. And we're just like, oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, it speaks to exactly what you are. You're a rock band.
That's right.
You know,
What you see is what you get.
you got the whole snake logo going on, but I mean, you can turn that into just about any friggin'
Snakes and
creature you want.
scorpions are
Yeah,
the two big ones right now that we're
Yeah.
using. So.
Yeah.
that's awesome. So, Burn, we're more than. And by the way, thank you for letting us be the first to play that.
Thank you for playing it,
Thank you.
man.
Frig, anytime, man. I'm hoping. I know there's a limited rock radio outlet out there, but I mean, you got to be pushing this to radio, not just in Ottawa, but across Canada.
Oh yeah.
We're going to be, yes.
Are you getting feedback on this from radio at all?
No, this is literally it's Maiden Voyage has been on BTR. Man.
No,
No
then
one
you're
else-
fucked. I'm sorry. There's no hope.
Boats
No
we
one's
think,
hearing this. No one's seen this interview either.
That's why we're drinking for this one.
Go to
Just pay for the
Milky's. He's
beer,
got the
that's
booze
it.
for free. We'll take that gig.
We just got the track like I don't know a week ago, like
Yeah.
from the producer. He was very busy, so
Yeah, he's been pumping out the tracks one at a time, and he's almost done. So we got Burn back first because we told him that's the one we wanted to release first. So
Oh, so he didn't send you the whole kit and caboodle finished. He sent you one by one.
we haven't even heard two of the.
I don't know
yet.
which way I'd prefer to hear. Right?
But at this point, it had been like 6 months since we tracked it, and we hadn't heard a thing, and we were all ready to hear something.
No doubt.
Just
Yeah.
wanted one song just to get out there,
Get
Tell them we're still
Nancy.
alive,
Yeah.
The first time you heard it, what was your reaction?
Wow, that's a tough one to put into words. How'd
Yeah.
you guys? I don't know. I turned it up as loud as whatever
Oh, yeah.
fucking speaker I was listening to it on would go, and I was like blown away. Because I've recorded before, like shitty recordings. I had
Yep.
never been in that kind of environment recorded before, and it was pretty unreal. It was pretty sweet to hear it.
sure, man.
Oh, she's got a whole bag of beer beside her. How did I?
I don't need the interview to go to the fridge. So. That is my
Yeah, because you're
career.
contributing so much, we wouldn't want to miss.
I
any.
know what it is. I bought the wrong beer. You guys are Bud guys. I went all Stella on you.
Talking.
Hey man, we're meat and potatoes kind of band.
It-
Budweiser, Jack Daniels, Bud Light,
Yeah.
To anybody watching
Alexander
this,
Keats.
to anybody watching this or listening to this right now, I believe this is a band that is willing to endorse your beer, whatever beer that happens to be.
Anything. If it has an alcoholic percentage, we will
We'll
endorse
drink
it.
it.
Yeah.
Stinger brand beer.
And yet our all our body parts and our articles of clothing are for sale too. So anything that you want to pay us to wear or do or say, pretty much, we'll fucking do it.
So let's talk about the fans. You've developed quite a following. You've got a pile of likes on your social media. I mean, have your fans had a chance to hear the song and comment on it? And what kind of feedback are you getting from your fans?
Only the people that have tuned into BTR. When we tell them to tune into BTR, we haven't.
So that's 4.
Call it like a soft launch, I guess.
Yeah, but we what is it, like a third-party distribution company that we are using to push it onto Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, and all the big platforms. And that'll be up and it'll be on there in the next probably week and a half, and then we will widespread it on our social media so everyone can just one click away you can hear it. So Burn will be available very shortly everywhere.
So they can download it.
You can download it.
Yeah.
You can buy it if
For
you're really
free.
Squirrely. Yeah, you
But
can
you
get
can
it for
steal
free.
it too. We don't care.
Yeah, whatever you
Listen
want
to
to
it.
do. If you want a copy of it, message us on
Don't be that
Facebook.
guy.
We'll send you a copy. If you want to hear it, we'll send it to you.
It's the new world. The band is like, hey, let's take my music, please.
Yeah,
Exactly.
just listen to me. I just want to be heard.
Live gigs. What do you got coming up for live gigs?
Nothing booked right now. We're getting back into the jam space now. We took a lot of time off after the summer last year. We went really hard, played a lot of shows.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, by our last show we played was September 1st, Labor Day weekend, and we were pretty burnt out after that. So after we took the fall to take some time away.
Yep.
From,
I also had an unfortunate accident.
Dennis had an unfortunate accident.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I broke my finger, so
That'll make playing guitar.
I was out of commission for a solid 3 months. I'm still recovering.
How'd you break your
Big
finger,
hand or
Dan?
fret hand?
My fretting hand, but I had like some hardware sticking out of it for a while, so I really couldn't do anything but sit on my couch.
That's gonna suck. 'Cause, I mean,
yeah.
I've seen you play, and you're
No.
so friggin' passionate about it.
It was very.
How'd you break your finger, Dennis?
How'd I break my finger?
Yes, Dennis.
Doing something really badass.
He was playing volleyball, diving for a ball that was way out of play that he was not going to get to.
No, you got to come up with a better story than that.
No, but that's the truth, man. Torture him. He deserves it.
That sucks.
He hasn't taken anywhere near enough abuse for that yet.
But it sounds like, I mean, you went hard. You put yourself in the right place. You put yourself in front of the right people. Good stuff happened. $5,000 doesn't just come anybody's way like that. You invested it in the band, which means you believe in your own product. You believe in what you guys are putting out there. You wait for it to come back. Now you've got something to get back out there and start hammering away at. And I'm sure the CD, I'm sure you're going to have CD copies, right? Will be available at shows and stuff like that. So, all right. So if people want to get in touch with Stynger, how do they find you? Give me the social media links.
At Stynger Music on Instagram.
Stynger with a Y.
Stinger with a Y, everybody. And it's not Stynger.
Stinger.
Get it right.
Stinger.
Yeah.
Stinger with a Y. I mean, it's Stinger or Stinger Music everywhere, right? If Facebook is just Stinger with a Y, you'll find us.
Stinger,
We're not very active on Twitter or anything, but we have a Twitter account too. But we don't
Actually, we just launched the website too.
Yeah.
Stingermusic.com.
There you go.
Just shoot us a message on there if you want to talk to us. Anything, man. We're open.
Available for weddings, bar mitzvahs.
Yeah, we're not really for kids, but you know,
only if it's open bar.
we have we have a release date for the EP that we haven't told anybody yet.
Do
We're
it.
saving it for this.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Aw, thanks.
Just
man.
for you, man.
Thanks.
I don't even know this.
Yeah.
I'm out of the loop here.
No, I told you, but you just.
I expect that kind
You're
of
one of
language
the
out of
other
the
two
drummer
votes,
over here.
you know?
Yeah, you were on the wrong side of the fence on this
damn.
vote, man. May 1st, the EP that we are calling Sting of Venom, Kiss of Venom, is the name of the EP.
To fuck up the announcement.
I practiced this all day.
Hang on.
Kiss of Venom is the name of the EP,
What'd you put in that drink?
and it's coming out May 1st. It will be available everywhere, like we said before, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, and off our website and all that stuff. and we're super excited.
Yeah,
to put
man.
it
Well,
out there.
listen, we've got a little chat room on blasttheradio.com, depending on which of our audio sources you're listening to. One happens to have a chat room, and the first time I played you, and a couple of times after that, yeah, man, I'm into this. So, you're getting good reaction. And I mean, we're a radio station that, we're not really a heavy metal hard rock station, but I mean, we Journey, Zeppelin, some of the same kind of stuff that you play. We cross over a little bit.
Huge influence.
I think your sound fits really nicely into, we're a station that plays a little bit of everything, and I think your sound fits in really, really nicely there. So I really hope.
I was super stoked that you
Radio
played us
gives a
after
listen.
Firehouse.
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
time.
I was like, I knew he did that on
Yeah.
purpose too.
I know he did. I know he
That was
did.
Yeah,
awesome.
you
That was
remember
sick.
the ride home
That
from the
was
hockey
sick.
game, right?
Absolutely.
That was
Okay.
sick. I knew you did that on purpose. That was sick.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. They are Stynger. Dudes, congratulations on the EP. Burn sounds great. You want to introduce the song for our listeners?
All right, here it is. Burn by Stynger. It's our first single off the EP, Kiss of Venom, May 1st. Thank you, John. Milkman.
Jesus fucking Christ.